So many people know you, who you are, thanks to two amazing hits. But for those who doesn't know you yet, how would you describe yourself and your music?
Uh, Myself, I'd say a London chap, and my music is very melodic, dance, and great songs.
So this year has been so far your big year, and the birth of a new talent. But when did everything started for you? When did you realize you wanted to involve yourself in music?
Well, I started out from a very young age. I was a musician from the age of 7, 8 years old, and then by the time I got to high school, around 11 years old, I was told that being a musician was very uncool. So I got straight into DJing, which was the next best thing, and production came very shortly after that. And I've been doing it since that much of a young age, since 11 years old. I'm 27 now, so been doing it a long time. Yeah.
And Fast Car was your very first single, but how did this song happen?
Originally, it was my mum's favourite song when I was a kid. The original came out in 1988, and I was born in 1989, so it was always on the radio when I was really young. I always remember going on long car journeys, and it was always on the radio, and it just stuck with me as being such a beautiful song. I mean, even when you listen to the original today, it just sounds so timeless. So it really resonated with me, and it was just beautiful. So I knew later on in life, when I became a DJ and a producer, that I wanted to be able to play it within my DJ sets. And that was pretty much the making of how, Fast Car came about.
Hmm. And how did you find the voice for the song? How did you find Dakota?
That was a bit of a weird story, actually. So I had the instrumental finished, but I wanted to keep it in the same musical key. And by doing that, I have to find a female vocalist who could sing very low, similar to Tracy Chapman. And I happened to be out one day with my manager in a pub. We were just having a beer, and this pub is kind of well known for breaking new acts and acoustic acts, things like that. And we heard this voice from the basement of this pub, and we went downstairs, went to see who it was, and it was this singer that we'd never heard before called Dakota. And I went up to her at the end of her show and basically said that I had done this new version of Fast Car and how I think she'd be perfect for it. And at the time, she wasn't sure because she'd never recorded any dance music before. So I was just like, "Look, please, can you really do it? I think your voice would be perfect for it." And she said okay, and she came in the very next day to record it. And what you hear on the record is that whole experience of me meeting her the night before and recording it the next day.
And almost 200 million views over YouTube, #1 in many countries, platinum and gold certification. But did you actually expect the huge response?
No, if I'm honest, no, I never did. It just, the Fast Car was never meant to be my first single either. Coming from a songwriting and production background, I didn't really have plans of covering someone else's song, especially such a classic song like that. But it just very naturally happened, and my love for the song and timing really. So it was a very natural thing. So I think with those kind of stats, I think it was more of a natural thing rather than me pushing for it. It really resonated around the world, and I'm so grateful for that.
And then it came Perfect Strangers with J.P. Cooper, and now I think you're releasing a new single?
That's correct, yeah.
What can you tell us about that new song?
The new song, it started out similar to the way I start most of my songs, which is just on the piano. And it started out with what you hear in the song, which is a kind of very melodic piano chord progression. So it starts out like that, and then the song is basically about this wild, carefree love that you can experience with someone who's by your side at a festival. And the idea was that it was kind of at one of my gigs, and I was having this out-of-body experience, and I was in the crowd, and I was having this moment listening to one of my songs, and I was with someone who was essentially by my side that I felt very passionate about. And it's about sharing that moment and having this kind of carefree, wild love experience.
And how much time have you been working on it?
It was made about 4 or 5 months ago, but it wasn't produced. It was just an acoustic version. It was just me playing the piano, and it was just a very basic demo recording of the vocal at the time with a songwriter that I wrote it with. Her name's Grace Barker. So it just stayed as an acoustic for a very long time, and then I loved it. And basically, it just obviously for it to be a real Jonas Blue record, I had to produce it, and it kind of took it to a whole new level. And what you hear on the record is pretty much, you know, that whole thing of it being acoustic and having that big dance drop as well. So yeah, it's got the blend of the two, and I'm really happy with it.
So for sure it's gonna be a success. But after those two hits, is there any more pressure for you when you are making your songs?
I try not to think about it other than when people like yourself say that to me. But I try not to think about it too much, if I'm honest, because it's like if I was to think about that, I would never get any music done. So all I think about when I go in the studio is, does this sound great? Do I get the butterflies when, you know, I listen back to it? And if I do, then maybe a few other people are going to feel the same way too. So that's generally for me how I feel when I make music now. You know, it has to really touch me.
And you're not releasing singles, but how do you think about releasing an album or making an album?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, from what I'm kind of seeing from my fans is people want music straight away. And the only problem with doing an album at this stage is it's going to take about 4 to 5 months to make an album, and me kind of locking myself away. So the idea is to keep releasing singles probably till the middle of next year, and then at the end of next year, release an album.
And now you're nominated for Best Push Artist at the European Music Award, but how does it feel to be in the same category as artists like Alicia Cara, Halsey, and DNC, and many others?
I mean, it's crazy. It really is crazy. You know, I've been doing this for essentially less than a year as Jonas Blue, and it's like, it really is crazy. It just goes to show, you know, how much people really believe in the music that I'm making and you know, are supporting me. So I'm just so grateful, and you know, to be nominated against stars like that is incredible.
So you've been touring all over the world for the last summer, and Spain was one of the places you visited. But which was your first impression of the Spanish people and your fans?
I think for me, especially with the music that I make, it's so perfect for the Spanish people. And when I go over there and play songs such as Fast Car and Perfect Strangers, I think the rhythms, the melodies, and just the energy of the Spanish people just really get what I'm about as an artist and show it when I go and perform. So I love playing there. I've played there quite a few times, and you know, every single time it's a new experience, and it's always amazing.
And for the next months and the beginning of 2017, which are your next plans?
Just to kind of keep doing what I'm doing already, because it's like I'm achieving so much with the way I'm doing things now. You know, my music is reaching everyone all around the world, which is what I've always dreamed of. And I'm getting to tour all around the world as well, you know, play the music out for all the fans and the people around the world. So it's just kind of to keep continuing what I'm doing, keep releasing great music, and yeah, hopefully this album at the end of next year.
And well, to know you a little bit better, which artists influence you while you are writing your music?
I love people like Sia, Ellie Goulding, and then on a production level, probably people like Calvin Harris, and someone which people may or may not know is a guy called Max Martin, who heavily influences me.
And you know, dreaming is always something we do, always, everyone, because it's something free, but which would be your dream collaboration?
Dream collaboration. I would love to make a Jonas Blue disco record with Michael Jackson.
Whoa, that would be great. And to be finishing, talking about those two massive hits, touring all over the world, which is the next big dream or challenge you want to accomplish?
I think for me to really bring the live element to the shows, because as you know, I'm a musician as well. So it's definitely about creating a show where I can have half of it where I'm DJing and then involve the live element with a full band playing my songs. So it's definitely about having the two.
And last but not least, when will you be back in Spain? Do you have an idea?
When will I be back in Spain? I think I'm back there January. So yeah.
Well, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure, and we wait for you here in January. And
Definitely.
it's so nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.